A lot of these BS narratives about Shedeur Sanders are getting destroyed. Browns defensive tackle Shelby Harris going viral for what he exposed about Shedeur Sanders' vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification to hype the video. We got to get into what Browns defensive tackle had to say, man. It's a lot of narratives and things being put out there about Shedeur Sanders. We have to take a look at what he had to say. This is a big deal, right?
Feel like he gets an unfair rep from a lot of people and about stuff that they don't even know about. You know, he's a great kid in the locker room, and yes, he's young, but we all were at one point. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing is he's going to make mistakes. He's not going to be perfect, but we're going to be there with arms wide open to help him succeed. And I feel like the narrative about him is just so wrong. He's bright. He's so intelligent. He's vocal. And isn't that what you want in a leader? You want somebody that's going to tell you when you're doing something wrong. You want somebody that's going to correct you and also be there for you when you mess up. And that's what makes he has these special traits, and that's what makes him different.
All right, man. That's Browns defensive tackle Shelby Harris. You know, it's a lot of people that have a lot of misconceptions about Shedeur Sanders and his character and all of this stuff. Browns defensive tackle letting it be known. Don't believe that. He's a great guy in the locker room. He's a great leader. He holds people accountable, and he's willing to be held accountable. And that is something you don't hear the media ever say about Shedeur Sanders. All they do is spew nonsense. Okay. And this goes into this point of even during Super Bowl week, Shedeur Sanders is receiving all types of unnecessary criticism and things, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Shout out to Shelby Harris for stepping up and keeping it real about Shedeur Sanders. Let's take a listen to this as he continues to receive unnecessary criticism.
Baskin during it was the National Card Collector show a couple years ago, and Greg Williams was there, and we got to speaking extensively. And the things he said about the Haslams will make sure that he never comes back to the Browns.
Yeah, here's the thing. That's before there was an offer on the table.
He was so fun and so awesome in so many ways. Did I ever tell you the time that I was on a flight with him going to St. Louis? And he took off his Super Bowl ring, and all of a sudden, I don't know, it was maybe like, he was like, he's way up there in first class, I'm way in the back, right? And there's this lady in front of me, and it's like the middle of the flight, and she goes, "You want a picture with the ring?" She got the ring all the way back in row 37. He'd been handing out his ring for people to take photos of during the flight.
You know why?
Because he's a good guy.
No, because he stood between them and the door.
Was that it?
Yeah. That wasn't leaving. That Super Bowl ring, he knew. He's like, I got the angle on him.
Middle of the air. It's not like anyone's really running away with it, but it was that this woman turns around, she goes, "You want a photo with the Super Bowl ring?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, thank you."
Now, all this being said, we had Dave Zastudil on yesterday at the Greater Cleveland Sports Awards. Thanks again for Dave joining us, but also thanks again to the award for having us out. Always fun, very busy, a lot of nice things said to us. We appreciate everybody that said hey and hi and all that, but it's interesting that this, of all the things we talked about yesterday, of all the clips we put out, Dave Zastudil talking about Shedeur Sanders in the situation he was put in last year was the one that got the most traction.
He was put in probably the worst spot I think you could ever put a rookie, let alone a fifth rounder in. I mean, You had an offensive line that was giving up sacks. We couldn't get the running game going. The receivers, it is what it is. He was just in a terrible situation, and he still made plays. He made some rookie mistakes, but he still made plays. So I think with a full training camp, full offseason, a new identity, the guy has talent enough to give him a good shot. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
So there's a couple parts to this. The difference to me between Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, and why I talk optimistically about one and not about the other, is the playmaking. Like when both guys were put into as bad of a situation as you could, as late third rounders and mid fifth rounders, as bad from a talent perspective, from the fact that coach clearly needed to win and maybe was in a situation to be the fall guy. There's not a way you could have set up either guy to fail harder than what the Browns did to both of those quarterbacks last year. And yet, one of them made plays, one of them moved around, and you saw the at least something. And the other guy kind of was a bit of a check down Charlie and looked like a guy who cowered in the moment to, I can only throw to the line of scrimmage, which is not what that guy did in college.
Yeah, no question about it. And that, I like the distinction because I'm having an interesting time trying to figure out, there's enough people like Zastudil, and I think I'm very close to his line of thinking, by the way, of like, man, he sure didn't have a chance in many aspects of it. But like, what is the difference between someone that makes that suggestion versus someone that's just like, well, I'm done with Shedeur and it doesn't matter anyway, and they put him into that same group that we're talking about with Dylan?
So what do you mean, what is the difference?
Like, I'm trying to figure out how so many of us, and I think you're in this group, I think I'm in this group, where we're like, well, you had no offensive line, you had no wide receivers, you had nothing as far as help is concerned. Why is it we can talk about it that way with Shedeur, but then with Dylan, we're so fundamentally different? And I think it is, and it comes down to the idea that Shedeur at least showed you glimpses in spots that Dylan just never, ever did. But then you get to the other side of it, the people that are just dismissive of all of it. Why can't they see how bad of a situation Shedeur was in?
Well, because they don't want to. There's a segment of people who just, unless Shedeur looked like Josh Allen, it's nothing that even then there was going to be a way to discredit him because, and again, that goes to the online nature and the discourse of having Shedeur. That's not Shedeur's fault, but it goes back to what we talked about with Dion. Like anything that adds to that crap show, I'm not engaging in. I might respond to somebody on YouTube now. I might respond to somebody on social media if I think that they're in a spot where they're not one extreme or the other. But like, so much of the analysis of Shedeur is based on, did you like Shedeur, and are you a part of the cult of personality, or are you the part of the people that absolutely hate the cult of personality?
So what's funny is in discussing this, I think it's interesting because not only did we have Zastudil, but obviously like Emmitt Smith went crazy on Kane Adams talking about it and all this, and like there's been enough people in the past couple of days that have thrown out their support for Shedeur. I almost wonder, we talk about like where's the benefit of being Shedeur? All you ever get is all this conversation. All you ever get is this talk. I think one of the low-key benefits that someone like Shedeur actually does get is when he's thrown into an awful situation with a bad offensive line, bad wide receivers, everything we've talked about, people pay enough attention to see the situations around him stink instead of, if it's anybody else, we're like, well, all right, just throw him out like he's days-old Chinese food.
So here's what I'm going to give Dave.
It's an interesting little subplot.
I'll actually split this. I'll split this with you, though, because with Dave to me sounded like a guy that watched Shedeur with an open mind and came away somewhat intrigued. Not definitive in any other way. That tells me he approached it with an open mind.
Well, Dave helps because Dave lives in the area. He worked for the Browns radio network. He watches all these Browns games. Like he's a very committed watcher of Browns football. Whereas someone like Emmitt Smith, for instance, isn't. But maybe he turned into at least dissecting it.
Or maybe he's friends with Deion Sanders.
Could be as simple as that. But you're going to get the benefit of the doubt publicly in that scenario, and that I actually think is it's a positive we don't talk about enough that goes in Shedeur's favor. Where I think everyone thinks the public side of it is all just negative, and he always just gets hurt in all these equations. I think there's enough people that watched and saw how bad our offensive line is that never would have looked into the metrics of our offensive line if not for Shedeur being there.
I think somebody that is not open-minded to Shedeur, and like to me, I don't know how to say this in a way that isn't going to come off in a bad way. Emmitt Smith, because he is friends with Deion, and his bias, and having a relationship with Shedeur, to me, you're biased. I love that you have the support for him, but I'm not putting it on public record in my mind. The same way with like Tim Hasselbeck, I've not heard that guy say one nice thing about Shedeur. I've heard him comment on the cult of Shedeur, or the cult of personality with